Let's tell you about this now. The IEC says it's recorded abnormally high voter turnout during the first two by-elections in KwaZulu-Natal this week, reflecting a new pattern in hung municipalities. Over 50% of KwaZulu-Natal's municipalities are hung, making the contest for each ward crucial for who's in control of councils. The higher voter turnout pattern witnessed in 2022 is expected to continue this year. Govan Whittles is standing by to tell us what exactly is going on. So maybe let's start, Govan, with some of the reasons behind the high voter turnout. Good morning.
Good morning, Dudu. So the IEC pointing to the fact that these municipalities are hung, but the reasons for them really are because of political parties. What we're seeing is a more intense focus on by-elections by political parties. This is quite interesting. It's something that's emerged since the 2021 local government elections, which produced a range of outcomes across the country where coalition councils have come into power. And these coalitions haven't been stable everywhere. And as a result of that, political parties are trying to consolidate their control or the number of seats they have in hung municipalities or their ability to influence other members of the coalition when it comes to voting. Of course, the more seats you have, the bigger your bargaining power, and often the more MMC positions you're able to secure for your party, meaning you're able to exercise the implementation of your party's manifesto on a really granular level, which is the local government council. And at these councils, we're seeing political parties shoring up more support than they're able to do in provincial elections. We're going towards the 2024 elections when parties are expected to flex their provincial muscle. But this flexing of the support that they have in the province will be determined by how much work their activists, their members have done at the local council level. And we're expecting to see a translation from the support they have in the councils towards the province. And it's on that basis, really, that they're predicting that some of the provinces could go into coalitions as well. We spoke to the IEC's head in KwaZulu-Natal about the reasons why they're picking up on this higher voter turnout, which in some cases is 62%. Consider that voter turnout in municipal elections would have been around 21% almost, and we're witnessing a lower voter turnout each time the local government elections roll around, with that trend starting in 2016. These by-elections bucking that trend and setting a new precedent for participation in South Africa's democracy by people in their councils. Let's take a look at what the IEC had to say.
This has not been the trend with by-elections in the past. I think what is happening now, political parties, because of the nature of municipalities that we got after the 2021 general election, we have a lot of hung municipality. Over 50% of the municipalities in the provinces are hung. So you'll see political parties putting a lot of resources during the campaigning season in by-elections, which then says they zoom in on the ward that has got a by-election, which tends to have an impact on the voter turnout. We are beginning to see a trend, particularly after the 2021 elections. All political parties put a little bit more resources on by-elections now because it's an opportunity for them to take over the municipality, because most of them are governed by coalition arrangements.
Namafuti Simanga, the head of the KZN IEC, speaking to Newzroom Afrika there, regarding the reasons why we're seeing an increase in voter turnout in by-elections. Only 2 of them have happened for the year so far. They've postponed another one in Dunhauser in KwaZulu-Natal. That's because 2 parties queried the legitimacy of the voters' roll. But these by-elections expected to be rolled out across the country, in the Eastern Cape, as well as in the Northern Cape and in the Western Cape. A few interesting points that have emerged from that. First being that in 3 provinces so far, the ANC, DA and EFF have failed to get their candidates onto the ballot. In Tuba, the by-election that just passed, that was because the ANC didn't pay the deposit to have their candidate on. In the Northern Cape as well, the same thing happened to the EFF. In the Western Cape, in Cape Town, the Democratic Alliance didn't register their candidate to take part in time. These are seen as anomalies, but there are also a number of other factors which are affecting these by-elections. They're going to be crucial in 2023, and they might mean that council or power changes hands because one party is able to secure an additional seat, or at the very least that a party is able to motivate for getting an additional MMC position. But what's interesting is that they're happening while load shedding is being implemented. And the IEC says that load shedding does have a material impact on the by-elections. Remember that there's a dual system of management happening here. Firstly, they have the manual analog system where they write things down, keep a list at every voting station. But there's also the new voter management devices, which help the IEC to map where things are happening and keep track of the entire voting district and all of the voting stations in it. Let's have a listen to what the IEC says the impact of load shedding has been on these by-elections.
It definitely has a lot of impact. Most of our systems have become automated in the way, whether it's candidate nomination, we are automating our system, including automating the processes at the voting station on the by-election day itself. There is a gadget, the voter management device that we use, the VMD, where we need to have connectivity for it to work optimally. And if we have load shedding, what normally happens particularly in small towns, you will have a town with one tower. And if that tower is down, we have no connectivity because our device needs to read our maps remotely. They read information from our servers. We need to have cell phone connectivity for it to work. So when it doesn't work, we miss out on the opportunity to collect statistics at the voting station because as people walk in, we are collecting demographic data on everyone that walks into the voting station. So without that, we are not able to do so. And it's a device that also helps us manage the issue of people trying to vote more than one time. Because if you voted in another voting station and you show up in the second one, the system will tell us that your ID has already been scanned.
Okay, Govan, what to look forward to? Because we've got more by-elections.
We do. Next week, the one that we're looking forward to, eagerly anticipating, is Action SA making its debut in Seshego, in Polokwane. This is Action SA contesting in an area which is semi-rural. The leader, Herman Mashaba, telling Newzroom Afrika this week that they're already booking the venue for Thursday to announce that they've won the ward. Might be counting your chickens before they're hatched, but they certainly believe they've done enough. And if they do win that ward, it'll be a huge upset against the EFF, which has dominated those local by-elections in the past.
Govan Whittles, thank you very much for that update.